Please subscribe so you can not miss all of our other baking videos. I have some good baking videos coming out pretty soon, so make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss when I post, and let's get started. Okay, so here are our ingredients. We have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. We have 1/3 cup of cocoa powder. We have 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and we are going to do 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So we have 3 eggs, we have 3/4 cup of oil, and then we have 1 cup of sugar. This recipe calls for sour milk, so it calls for 3/4 cup of sour milk. So you can use a tablespoon of vinegar and make sour milk if you don't have buttermilk, or you can use, like I'm going to use today, you can use 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. They both work great. I usually use vinegar, but we're out of that right now, so I'm just going to use lemon juice, but it'll all work great, and it will make some good sour milk. This sour milk gives it a really good taste. It's not strong or anything. It just gives it a really nice taste. So it's super yellow right now, so we are going to mix this for about 5 minutes. It will get a super light color, and I'll show y'all what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to explain right now, but I will show y'all what I'm talking about when this gets done mixing in about 5 minutes. It does take a little bit of time for the sour milk to just get really good and sour. So I'm just going to pour our lemon juice in there, and I'm going to kind of mix it in because it's kind of, the lemon juice is kind of settling on top, so I'm just going to mix that in. And then we are going to let this sit for about 5 minutes. Three-quarters of a teaspoon of baking soda. You can see this baking soda is, just a little clumpy, so I'm just going to kind of just smush that with my fingers and get those clumps out, because we don't want to bite into a clump of baking soda. Okay, so I'm just going to put the cupcake liners in or muffin liners, whichever you want to call them. I'm going to put them in the pan. So I'm going to wait quite a while for these to cool. They came out absolutely beautifully. They came out really nice. So I'm just going to wait a few hours for these to cool. So this made 12 beautiful cupcakes, and then the icing, I actually have a little bit left over. So I'll probably just put that in a container in a fridge and use that later on. But the icing, it had plenty of icing. Today I'm going to be using our KitchenAid mixer. Now I'm just going to use this for just time's sake, you know, kind of it's easier to mix up the butter and the sugar. Of course you can just do this with a fork or a hand mixer. Done it many times, but I like using the KitchenAid mixer just because it's there, we have it, and I like it. Okay, so the key to cookies is you want the butter to be cold. This is a big one because if you want fluffy cookies, I have done many flat cookies before in my baking lifetime, and that is because I had the butter way too warm. The butter has to stay cold, and so then there still be some like chunks of butter at the end of there, like, you know, little bitty just chunks of butter in there, and then it will bake in the cookie and make it just an absolutely wonderful consistency. So I'm going to put the thing down and I'm going to put it on low and just let it spin the butter and just kind of beat it up a little bit, and then I'm going to put in our sugar. 1/2 cup plus 1/4 cup of sugar. We're going to add 1 1/4 cups of sugar. You can add brown sugar in this, that would be good too. But today we don't have any already made. So, you know, it's good without it, perfectly fine without it. I'm just going to use granulated sugar today. Okay, so it's starting to get mixed up. I'm just going to turn it off. You want to make sure to turn it off before it gets all the way mixed in. All of it, before it gets like super creamy. There are millions of cookie recipes out there, literally so many cookie recipes out there. We have been using this one for years. My mom actually, she used it way before I started ever cooking or baking. So it's definitely been in our family for a while. We are going to do 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And now we are going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And let's go ahead and start mixing all this up. And then we are going to go over here and get our egg. We're going to go ahead and start mixing this up, and then we're going to get our egg. Here is our egg. We're going to scrape the edges of our bowl. That's an important thing, of course, is not wasting anything and scraping the edges of the bowl, because sometimes the mixer does not get all of the stuff on the sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little help and kind of scrape the sides. So that's good and mixed up. Now we're going to add 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. Again, use any kind of chocolate chips you want, it does not matter. Now let's go ahead and preheat our oven. So our chocolate chip cookie dough is really nice. It looks absolutely wonderful. It should be just a nice moist texture. And we are going to now just kind of put it in the fridge until the oven preheats, which should be around 8 to 10 minutes. And then we will take it out and put it on the pans. And then we will put it in the oven. So I will see y'all when we are going to put it all on the pan. So we are going to come back in about 10 minutes. These take about 10 to 12 minutes to bake. It really depends on your oven. It is preheated at 365 degrees Fahrenheit, which I'll put that in Celsius for y'all on the screen. But this takes about 10 to 12 minutes to bake. This is for our oven what we found, so you just want to keep an eye on them. I'm going to do 10 minutes, and that usually does pretty good. Sometimes it takes like 15 minutes, so I just kind of have to like keep checking and looking, and I will tell y'all how to tell when they're done in just a second. They are done. Let's talk a little bit on how to achieve the perfect cookies. So most of it comes through the baking process. Now, when I was first starting to bake, one big mistake that I made in my cookies was I would bake them until they looked done. Now, what you have to do is make sure you do not bake them when they are fully golden brown, because when they are fully golden brown, that means they are done. But when you take them out of the oven, they keep cooking actually. Even if you take them out and take them off a hot pan, the inside of the cookie is still really hot and it keeps cooking. When it gets super hot, and since the cookie's still cooking, it will make it hard. Like really hard to where you can barely even bite into them. This was a big mistake that I made in my baking when I first started. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to learn to gauge through when you are cooking and baking cookies. So this goes with any cookie. I like to flip them over so then the bottom does not, start like bake too much, because the pan's still really hot. I just kind of like to flip them over so then the bottom doesn't get too hard. But that is kind of how you can see the bottom of them are nice golden brown colors. When you touch them, they are really hot right now. They are very soft. They are, when you touch the top of them, they don't feel doughy. They are pretty springy. And this is just kind of how you want them to look when you take them out of the oven. This is a really nice batch of cookies, absolutely perfect. I cannot wait to try them. And you can see that is how they are. You want them to look just a little golden brown on the edges, pretty white on the top, and then just let them sit for about 10 minutes before you eat them. So then it has time to fully cook all of them through the middle, and then you'll just get a perfect cookie if you wait patiently. So let's go ahead and plate these up, and then we're going to put the other ones on there.